Hey everyone, welcome again to the 5 o'clock where we are talking to CEOs from all over around the city and over the country. And today we are really lucky to have Joan Wolfensberger with us, and she is a cannabis entrepreneur. So Joan, if you can tell us a little bit about yourself. You are a resident in River North, is that correct?
Yes, actually Streeterville.
Oh, Streeterville, you are in Streeterville, that's right.
Yes. It's okay. It's a COVID situation.
I know, I've been inside too long. Anyways.
Yes.
So happy to have you on today. So maybe you can tell us a little bit how you got inspired to get into cannabis investments.
Terrific. Belinda, you're one of my favorite people on the planet. So excited to see your face live. Always love to do that. I started out with, so I've had a number of spinal fusions. I've had 6 surgeries, I think, in the last 5 years. Pretty major surgeries. From a car accident where my neck was fractured, and so I've had many surgeries. Anyway, so you get to the point though where you go to your physical therapy, you do all these things. I've done magnet therapy, I've done acupuncture, I have done, you name it, I've done it. I've tried every lotion, potion, you name it. I've purchased it. I have them all piled up somewhere in a box. And you get to a point where you need to find something else. And, you know, yoga, meditation, all those things are amazing. Mindfulness is fantastic. But they're just, you know, when you think about taking hydrocodone for any length of time, it's just not an answer at all. So I got a card. We used to have a house in Arizona, and I got a card back in, I think, 2013 in Arizona, which it was legal in Arizona. And so I started experimenting with cannabis. And that was, I wish I could have filmed it. So here's one of the examples of what can happen if you don't really know what you're doing. And still, you know, the industry is emerging, and there needs to be a lot more information for people who want to relieve themselves of pain, anxiety, et cetera, et cetera. And cannabis is an amazing, CBD particularly is an amazing product. So one, here I'll give you the fun one, is it's dark in the desert. There are not a lot of street lights and allow it because there's a telescope at University of Arizona. So we were going to go to the other side of town in the dark desert. And I said, well, I'll be a designated driver, but I wanted to stop at my dealers. I wanted to stop at a dispensary. And while I'm, you know, experimenting with all this stuff, I don't know what I'm doing, and I'm relying on this guy to tell me what's happening. So at the end of purchasing things that he recommended, and I don't want to smoke the actual product. I'm not interested in smoking it. I was just more interested in the edible of it. So what happened was, at the end of this whole thing, I pointed to the cooler and said, that it looks like Dr. Brown's soda, and he gave me a soda, and I was the designated driver. So we get in the car, and I'm drinking the soda, and we wind up going to a Whole Foods, which has a band. You know, it's one of those gigantic ones with a gorgeous band and everything, and then you shop a little and like have dinner, et cetera, et cetera. It's really fun. So I stay at my house and wait for a table. So I put the can on the table while he's waiting for a table. I said, I'm gonna go pick up a few things. So I go walking through Whole Foods, and now I have consumed probably half a can. And I get to the bulk section of the grocery store, and I don't know my name. It's like, not only do I not know my name, I cannot walk. So I'm walking like a robot back to, I said, stop drinking. We have to go. My legs were stuck. My knees would not be joints. I could not bend them. So we get into the car, and, you know, it's dark, and, just driving along, and it's just, I get back to our house, and I have a full psychedelic experience. It was very unpleasant, I can tell you that. So now I drank that thing, and I was using that cannabis, and it was because I was having a really horrible setback with pain. So I wake up in the morning after this whole experience, and I feel amazing. A half a can, amazing.
Okay.
I am brand new. So he says, let's go get a case of it. And I say, I wouldn't go through that again. Are you kidding me? I saw Martians. So I was interested in, so I knew that there was something to this. That was a particular time when I absolutely knew that there was something related to cannabis, CBD, the healing qualities, et cetera, et cetera. So I was interested in investing, and I didn't want to get in on the retail level because, I really wanted to get into a company that was emerging. So luckily, when we purchased this home here, our realtor, her husband is really a huge cannabis investor, and he is also part of ArcView, which is where investors come together with these companies at varying levels of the supply chain, all different levels of the supply chain. They can be plant touching, they can they can be retail, they can be wholesalers, they can be producers, anywhere along there, and you get to meet them. And it's sort of like a Shark Tank where they get up on the stage and then they talk about their product. For example, there was one, I thought this would be great, a cannabis beverage, selling bars, for example, which would be terrific. And there's instability, and so Ray Shark tanks them and says, well, the instability, transportation, et cetera, et cetera. So I decided to invest in a company in the end that is with the ancillary. So it's actually a product to use, it's an item to use, unfortunately, to smoke cannabis because they were running into some trouble because of COVID, of course. But I got in mostly because I wanted to be into the CBD business and thought I'll start here because I know the investors and I knew it would be a well-run company. So here's the problem with CBD. It's not a problem. It's just something that, somebody needs to really, the industry somebody needs to come to the fore, and they need to talk about labeling and talk about be really transparent about what's in certain things. And the affordability is a big issue. And so here's an example of something I take. I take this CBD. What do you say when you hear tincture? This is a tincture. So this is an oil that, you take a certain amount of this oil depending on, and now again, when I say a certain amount of this oil, so you do this, right? So you just, and it may taste bad. Most of them do taste pretty bad, except for one brand, which I'm very interested in still. Now this I got from my pain physician's office, Dr. Jane, fantastic in Hinsdale. He actually listens to you in your pain. He's amazing. I got this from his office. Now this is a CBD oil, and it has no THC in it. This works really well, except for the fact that it's got no THC in it, and the THC is a tiny amount, is what really activates this thing as a pain remedy. It will actually work for pain. So this is good though. I mean, I gave some to some other of my friends who are older, and they found it to be very effective. I think it's very effective, but I have to say I think the ones with a little bit of THC in them, they're more effective. And that's just a chemical issue. So now here's the problem is that this thing is like, this was expensive. This was about $90, I think.
Okay.
And they run from anywhere from so this is 1 ounce. So they run from anywhere from 60 to like 110, 150. It really depends. And then the labeling is really not that great, right? So the question is, hemp, marijuana, what's the difference, right? How do you know what you're buying?
That comes up about that.
Yeah. It's and no wonder, because it's confusing. Hemp is, and by the way, there's not enough hemp, good high quality hemp going around. So there's numerous issues with CBD tinctures and things. I mean, you don't know where it's grown. You don't know if it's high quality hemp. Okay, CBD comes from hemp. It's a type of cannabis. Marijuana is, okay, so just take here's cannabis, right? And it branches off into varying types of plants. So you have hemp here, you have marijuana here. Hemp has a very, very low percentage of any THC in it. And with the Farm Bill, basically, many, many people can grow hemp now. It's just how they grow it and if they're growing it properly. Right. Marijuana has THC in it, right? So the CBD comes from hemp. CBD comes from hemp. The problem with this is that nobody knows where this came from. There was no information on it practically. It was expensive. I don't know if this is good hemp, bad hemp. I don't know anything about it. So, and I don't know how much I should take.
Right.
So I take myself 1,000 milligrams or 2 or 3 sometimes, depending on what's happening. But I would like to get it. I would like an investment going forward where we could specify the kind of CBD that you should be taking, the kind of hemp with your whatever your issue is, whatever your presenting issue is.
Almost like a medical prescription.
Exactly. Something like exactly like that, where we can say for your condition, whatever it is, this sort of hemp or this sort of mix will work better for you. Maybe more THC in it than the other one. Now, this is some of the other issue with that is just going along the THC line for a second is that, okay, this has no THC in it, but I have many, many older friends who could really benefit from the CBD and they won't take it because they're positive they're going to get stoned. You're not going to get stoned from this product. You're not going to get stoned, generally speaking, from a low THC. The THC activates the CBD. So you're not going to get stoned. You're not going to fall down your apartment. Many of my older friends are concerned, you know, if I give them something like this, they're positive they're going to fall down alone in their apartments or alone in their homes, or they're going to be stoned, or they're not going to be able to do their, you know, daily thing. And that is not true. It could be, I suppose, unusual circumstances, but it's not enough in there just to activate the product, essentially. So I think that, you know, going forward, I think the COVID thing, except for all the other issues that everybody has with growing and producing and, you know, getting products and moving products around the country and everything that every other industry on the planet has right now, when we get back to normal, whatever the normal looks like, what I think has to happen is I think actually CBD sales will continue to grow at an explosive pace. People are always looking for something outside of the medical community that they can use or outside of taking drugs. And taking drugs, as everybody knows, is just it's a no-way street. You just, you know, you start taking them, you start liking them, and then before you know it, you know, you're addicted. And so we don't want to go there. So going forward, I'm looking for a company, and I think I found a couple, but going forward, the transparency, the labeling, the information to the patients that they know, to the client, they know exactly what they're getting and how much they should take for whatever it is that they feel like they have, whatever condition is that they are experiencing. So you actually know when you buy this $100 thing or $60 thing, because this is really expensive. I'll go through one of these every, you know, like 3 weeks. So you know exactly what you're buying, because when you buy this stuff, there's really no information about it. It just says it's grown in a certain place, and that's about it. And most of the time, for example, I asked about this product, you know, nobody really knows much about it. They're kind of selling it, and that's kind of it. So if we could get to, yeah, in some ways a medical model where you could say, this is my condition, this is how many times I have pain or anxiety, whatever it is that you're trying to treat. You know, should you take it in the morning? Should you take it in the evening? Should you mix it with other things, et cetera, et cetera? So it would be like a prescription, a CBD prescription. So I got into the business that I got into in order to get into the CBD world and to try to change the way, or to as an emerging market, to really grow with a company where we are being fully transparent and very exacting about what it will and won't do, how to take it, when to take it, et cetera, et cetera. So, and that will happen. It's just that, again, it's an emerging market and everything, you know, it's fungible. We can make it what we want. You know, we have the chance to make it what we'd like it to look like. That's pretty much my story.
I love it. So do you see that then growing quite rapidly? And do you think that people, if they do want to invest in it, like need to move quickly before they kind of miss the wagon on it?
Well, I think there'll be significant, excuse me, I had a surgery and telling you they had to go through my throat, so my voice is always, yeah, which, you know, this actually does help that a little bit too, because it's kind of relaxing to it. Yes, I think that there's no question that this industry will continue to explode. People are always looking for things that are outside of the medical community. You know, they don't want to take drugs. They don't want to take things that have all these different side effects. They're not interested in. A lot of people just are kind of allergic to drugs. They just don't want to take anything that they can help it. I think it absolutely will become, will continue to explode because it's still exploding. But the more information that I think that it'll explode, people just buy it and take it. But don't they want to know what they're buying and taking? And would they buy more? And would they refer it to somebody if they knew what was in it? And if they could explain the information about what this will do at any time, what something like this will do at any time is all anecdotal.
Right.
You don't see, it's not evidence-based medicine. I mean, if we could move, if you had your perfect trajectory, and yes, I think it's a good time to invest. There's no question about it. The question is supply chain. What are you gonna do with the supply chain? That's just gonna be a question, I think, for almost any industry right now. You know, what does the supply chain look like? Can we grow it? Can we get it there? Can we move it? Can we, you know?
Yeah, and
right
I think
now we're at a standstill.
like it's you know, people that want to get into cannabis, I think that they also just kind of, a lot of them think that it's just the retail side, but there's so many other types of investments to get into with cannabis that are, you know, side and support
Yes.
so that are just as lucrative. So it's, you know, it's giving people education as well.
Yes, I mean, I should, maybe we'll do another one in the future. I could show you my supply chain chevron. This is a diagram that explains the supply chain. And, you know, there's, again, plant touching, or you could be a producer, or you could be just the retail, you know, it really depends on so much, where you kind of want to get in. But now I have to recommend ArcView. ArcView is, which is great. ArcView, again, is where, and it's fun to go to because you just cannot, I have to say, I took a picture of myself that day. I was so happy that one of the days I went, it was so exciting. You get to meet investors from every place. And I sat down next to this guy by accident. He was one of the big, you know, the one big financiers for all of this stuff. And that was really interesting to talk to him. And that's one of the reasons that I invested in the company I invested in, because he said, oh, they're a really good group and they'll, you know, they'll be really good managers and, you know, they'll run the business well. No, I think clearly right now it would be a great time to look into what you'd like to invest in because you have time to research it and take a look at, you know, the demographics and take a look at, you know, where you might want to, you know, where you might want to lay your dollar down. Right. It's a good time to get on the phone and talk to as many people as you can and kind of just do, and it does require some research in my opinion.
Yeah, I think
really, yeah, go ahead.
No, I agree with you. I think it takes research for people because they don't know about it. And I think it's such a vast industry and has so many different facets to it that it's, you know, knowing where to invest your dollar.
Yes. And it's an emerging market. So now is a very good time to do that when you've got a little more time to really look around and talk to people, and they've got more time to talk to you. Because at ArcView, you go and you kind of have these speed meetings, and then you talk to everybody afterwards. But you know, that's kind of, I mean, you get a big packet of all the information and everything. Right. But yeah, I think it's an excellent time to do research into what you'd like to do. Yes, absolutely.
Well, thank you.
I really have high hopes for the CBD market, and you know.
Sure. No, I think it's, I think you gave us so much useful information today. I think it's, you know, I have so many investors that are so interested in getting into the cannabis market in different sectors. So having you come and talk about the, you know, ArcView and how you've invested with them is going to be very helpful. So thank you so much for your information today.
Thank you, Melinda. Thank you very much for having me on your new TV station. You're an excellent host.
It's great having you on. And yeah, I think it would be great to have you on again to talk more about, you know, the different elements of cannabis and different ways to get invested. So we can share that on the High Returns for Real Estate Investors Chicagoland Real Estate Group and do another live with you. I think that'd be great. Especially that you're another.
I'm more than happy to do that.
Which is so nice to have.
Yes. Well, I think women kind of rock in this world too. There's not that many women, you know, but there are some really strong women in this industry. Yeah.
Love it. Well, thank you so much for coming on today, Joan. I appreciate it. And we will, I guess, I will talk to you soon. But everybody, if you join us tomorrow, we're also going to be on again at 5 p.m. And we will be having Richard Columbus on the show tomorrow. He is a CPA and attorney. So we will talk to you guys tomorrow. Joan, thank you so much again for coming on. And that's all I got for you guys. Have a great night.
Stay safe.